TV marketing in 2025 turns shopping into a psychological battlefield, and nowhere do they play dirtier than in the OLED versus QLED war. Stores stage fake lighting tricks, influencers quietly cash in, and even Black Friday saw QLEDs mislabeled as OLEDs. The difference? It's as dramatic as a candle versus a floodlight, and the wrong pick will haunt your wallet and your viewing. So, before you choose a side, do you really know how deep the manipulation goes? This is the warning every buyer needs. Let's break down the real fight hiding behind those four shiny letters. OLED and QLED sound almost identical in the showroom, but at their core, they couldn't be more different. OLED, short for organic light. Emitting diode turns every single pixel into its own tiny light source. Imagine a wall covered in millions of microscopic candles, each one able to turn on, dim, or shut off completely. When an OLED pixel goes black, it's not just dark, it's off. No light leaks, no gray haze, just pure, inky darkness. That's why OLED is the only TV tech that can deliver a picture where the shadows actually disappear. Movie scenes that fade to black? On OLED, it's as if the screen vanishes and the image floats in your room. QLED, or quantum dot light emitting diode, works on a different principle. Instead of self-lit pixels, QLED starts with a powerful LED backlight, a floodlight really, shining behind the screen. That light passes through a layer of quantum dots, which are microscopic crystals designed to filter and boost colors. The result is a TV that can get blindingly bright, punch through sunlight, and fill a room with vivid color, even in the middle of the day. But here's the catch. Because the backlight is always on, even the deepest blacks on a QLED aren't truly black. There's always a faint glow, especially in dark scenes, and that's why QLED can't match the shadow detail or the sense of depth that OLED creates. This difference isn't just technical, it's emotional. OLED is the candlelit gallery where every brushstroke stands out against velvet black. QLED is the stadium floodlight, built to overpower sunlight and keep the game visible from every seat. Both use cutting-edge science, but the way they handle light and darkness sets the stage for everything that follows. Contrast, color, even how you feel when you watch. At the heart of OLED, each pixel is a gatekeeper, deciding exactly how much light to emit, or none at all. That's why OLED panels can be paper-thin, flexible, and nearly bezel-free. QLED, on the other hand, relies on an army of LEDs behind the scenes, with quantum dots acting as color amplifiers. This makes QLED screens thicker and heavier, but also tougher and less prone to damage from static images or high brightness. The science behind these two technologies explains why the same movie looks so different depending on the screen. On OLED, a star field in space is a true void, with stars burning bright against infinite black. On QLED, the stars pop with intense color, but the background never disappears completely. The backlight always leaves a trace. It's the reason OLED fans talk about immersion, while QLED owners rave about clarity and punch. So, when manufacturers throw jargon like infinite contrast or quantum color at you, it all traces back to this split. OLED is each pixel lighting itself. QLED is a backlight filtered through a color-boosting layer. That one difference drives every strength and every trade-off you'll see in the real world. Understanding it is the first step to seeing through the marketing fog and actually finding the TV that fits your life. Step into any electronics store and the showroom feels more like a stage than a place to buy a TV. The lighting isn't just bright or dim by accident, it's a script. 3 out of 4 stores tuck OLEDs into dark corners with ambient light barely above a candlelit dinner. QLEDs, meanwhile, bask under spotlights glowing in simulated sunlight. That's not a coincidence. Retailers measure these rooms with lux meters. 75% of OLED displays are staged in under 150 lux, while 70% of QLEDs sit in zones blasted with 300 to 500 lux. Each setup is engineered to make one technology look unbeatable and the other seem lacking, depending on where you're standing. It doesn't stop at the lights. Shelf tags shout price differences in bold, fluorescent colors. OLEDs with eye-watering numbers. QLEDs painted as the practical, affordable hero. These price anchors aren't just numbers, they're psychological traps. A $2,799 OLED next to a $1,899 QLED isn't there to inform, it's there to steer. Feature cards dangle promises. No burn-in risk. Longer lifespan. Cinematic blacks. Sometimes a warning sticker sits next to the OLED, not for static signage. The message is clear. If you want peace of mind, take the QLED and run. Salespeople are trained for this performance. Scripts in their hands, they drop fear cues about OLED burn-in, even as modern panels rarely show problems outside of torture tests. Are you planning on watching news or sports all day? OLED might not be the best fit. On the flip side, they paint QLED as the family tank, built for chaos, immune to kids' cartoons burning logos into the screen. The pitch is polished, practiced, and designed to make you second-guess your instincts. Even the demo videos are part of the act. OLEDs loop through moody movie trailers with deep shadows and glowing embers. QLEDs run nature scenes and sports clips, all color and brightness. The content is tailored to the tech, showing off strengths while hiding weaknesses. Retail mode settings crank up saturation and contrast, making everything pop, at least under those showroom lights. Online, the game continues. Influencer reviews, sometimes sponsored, echo the same talking points as the showrooms. Unlabeled paid trips and review units blur the line between honest advice and advertising. The Federal Trade Commission has sent out industry-wide reminders about disclosure, but the TV aisle remains a gray zone. Most buyers have no idea which opinions are paid for and which are earned. And then there are the outright scandals. Black Friday 2020 saw QLEDs sold as OLED equivalent at major retailers, with mislabeled tags causing chaos. Forums filled with angry buyers who realized too late that marketing had trumped reality. Apologies were issued, but trust took a hit that still lingers. Every detail in the retail ecosystem is calibrated to confuse, overwhelm, and nudge you toward a decision you might not have made at home. The showroom isn't where you find the truth. It's where you're sold a story. Recognizing the tricks is the first step to resisting them and to making a choice that's actually yours. Burn-in. It's the word that echoes through every TV aisle and online review, usually whispered like a warning. Buy the wrong screen, and your favorite channel logo will haunt you forever. But how real is this fear? The numbers tell a story that's very different from the sales pitch. In the lab, stress tests run OLED panels through torture. Static images, gaming HUDs, news tickers, left up for weeks or even months. Under those extreme conditions, some older OLEDs did show permanent marks. But step back from the lab and look at real living rooms, and the risk drops off a cliff. Less than 1% of OLED owners who watch a mix of streaming, movies, and gaming ever see permanent burn-in, according to warranty data and long-term reviewer tests. The odds only climb if you run the same static image, like a scoreboard or a news channel banner, for hours every day, with all the safety features turned off. Modern OLEDs fight back with a toolkit of protections. Pixel shifting nudges the image by a few pixels every so often, just enough to keep any one spot from wearing out. Logo dimming drops the brightness on static graphics, making them less likely to leave a mark. Every few hours, the TV quietly runs a pixel refresh cycle in the background, cleaning up any faint traces before they become permanent. LG and Sony handle these cycles differently. LG does a short refresh after 4 hours of use, while Sony waits until the TV has been in standby for a while. Both methods work, and both have cut down the risk dramatically. Long-term tests from Artings and other independent labs back this up. They ran OLEDs for thousands of hours, mixing in everything from Netflix marathons to gaming sessions. After a year of heavy but varied use, almost no TVs showed visible burn-in. Even in the worst-case scenarios, like running a game with a static HUD for 8 hours a day, burn-in only showed up on 1 to 3% of panels, and that's with all the protections disabled. For normal home use, the risk is so low that most manufacturers don't even cover burn-in under warranty anymore, unless there's clear evidence of a defect or abuse. QLEDs, by contrast, don't suffer from burn-in at all. The backlight and quantum dots don't wear out in the same way, so they're a safe bet for anyone who leaves the news or sports on all day. But here's the reality. Most OLED buyers will never see burn-in, as long as they use their TV like, well, a TV. The fear is real, but the numbers don't back it up. When you're weighing your options, don't let burn-in be the bogeyman that steers you away from the picture you actually want. Look at your habits, trust the data, and remember that the loudest warnings in the store are often the least likely to matter at home. Imagine flipping on a TV in a sunlit living room at noon. On a QLED, the picture slices right through glare with ease. Lab tests from 2024 put top QLEDs like Samsung's QN90D and TCL's QM8 at over 1800 nits, sometimes peaking above 2200. That's not just bright, it's blinding, enough to stay clear and colorful even when sunlight pours across the screen. OLED, by comparison, tops out closer to 950 nits on most mainstream models, with even the priciest QD OLEDs from Sony and Samsung stretching to 1500 or so in small highlights. In a bright room, that difference isn't subtle. QLED can muscle through open windows and overhead lights, while OLED's image can start to look muted, especially if you're chasing that HDR pop. But brightness isn't the whole story. When the lights go down, OLED flips the script. Each pixel shuts off completely to deliver perfect blacks, so shadows don't just look dark, they disappear. QLEDs use local dimming to try to imitate this, but with a backlight always on, there's a catch: halos. Watch a movie with white subtitles on a black background, and you'll spot a faint glow or blooming around the letters. That's the backlight leaking through, a side effect of even the best dimming algorithms. OLED doesn't just avoid this, it makes those subtitles float, razor sharp, on a sea of true black. Motion is another battlefield. OLED pixels respond in under a millisecond, faster than the blink of an eye. Fast-moving sports, action games, even scrolling credits stay razor clear, with no blur or ghosting. QLEDs have gotten quicker, especially at the high end, but even the best mini LED models can't quite match OLED's instant transitions. For most viewers, the difference is subtle, but for gamers or anyone sensitive to motion blur, it's the kind of thing you notice and can't unsee. Viewing angle matters too, especially for families or parties. OLED keeps colors and brightness consistent, even if you're way off to the side. QLED, especially older or cheaper models, starts to lose color and contrast as soon as you move off-center. The latest QLEDs have improved, but in a side-by-side test, the fade is still there. Charts from independent labs show QLED brightness drops by up to 40% at a 45-degree angle, while OLED holds steady. If your couch wraps around the room, or if you hate fighting for the center spot, this isn't just a spec sheet number, it's a real daily difference. Every one of these strengths and weaknesses ties back to how you actually watch TV. Bright, chaotic family rooms? QLED's floodlight approach wins. Movie nights in the dark? Or a passion for perfect shadows and crisp motion? OLED's candlelight magic comes alive. The numbers are real, but the right choice depends on where and how you'll use them. 6 televisions define the 2024 to 2025 shortlist, each one answering a specific demand. The LG C4 stands as the OLED for almost everyone. Priced under $2,100 for a 65-inch, it balances vivid color, deep blacks, and proven burn-in resistance. Its 1000 nits peak brightness favors dimmer rooms, while gamers benefit from instant response times. For those seeking the OLED experience without the premium, the C4 is the practical choice. Sony's A95L claims the title of reference screen for home theaters. This QD OLED delivers up to 1500 nits in highlights and paints HDR scenes with remarkable accuracy. At over $3,200, it's a luxury for cinephiles who want the best, regardless of cost. The A95L consistently wins expert shootouts, setting the standard for color and detail. Samsung's S95D brings excitement with the brightest OLED performance, sometimes surpassing Sony in bursts of color and light. It omits Dolby Vision, limiting some streaming content, but for those who crave bold images and high peak brightness, often found below $3,000, it's a compelling contender. For families, the Samsung QN90D is the fortress. Mini LED backlighting, nearly 2200 nits, and an anti-reflective coating make it resilient against sunlight, fingerprints, and static images. With no risk of burn-in and a price between $1,900 and $2,100, it's built for busy homes and sports marathons. Hisense's U8N is the value leader. Under $1,200, it offers QLED brightness, rich color, and gaming features that match pricier rivals. Some panels show minor uniformity quirks in dark rooms, but its performance per dollar is unmatched. TCL's QM8 is the quiet disruptor, delivering up to 2600 nits, the brightest here. Premium gaming features and a street price near $1,200 earn it the budget killer label. It offers flagship performance without the luxury markup. Each model answers a real need: immersion, daylight power, gaming, family chaos, or pure value. The specs are honest, the trade-offs clear, and the choice belongs to the buyer. Every year, TV companies flood the market with new models, fresh buzzwords, and just enough fear to make last year's top pick feel like yesterday's news. But the truth is, 4K TV technology has matured. The difference between this year's OLED or QLED and last year's isn't a leap, it's a shuffle. Chasing upgrades year after year delivers smaller and smaller returns, while the pile of discarded screens grows ever higher. E-waste is the hidden cost of the upgrade cycle. Globally, only about 10 to 15% of televisions are recycled. The rest, millions each year, end up in landfills, basements, or informal dumps. In the US, the number creeps up to 15 to 20%, but most old TVs still gather dust or get tossed. Each new screen contains rare metals, glass, and chemicals that are tough to reclaim, and even tougher on the environment. Buying smart and keeping your TV longer isn't just good for your wallet. It's one of the simplest ways to cut down on waste. So how do you buy smart? Forget the marketing. Start with a 5-point checklist. Where will you watch? Dark den, sunlit living room, or a mix? Who's watching? Solo movie nights, family chaos, or all of the above? What do you watch? Movies, sports, news, gaming, or a little of everything? How long do you want it to last? Is this a 5-year investment or a stopgap? Are you willing to pay for features you'll use, or just for the latest badge? If you can answer those, you're already ahead of the game. The perfect TV isn't the one with the most features or the flashiest demo reel. It's the one that fits your space, your habits, and your budget, and that you'll keep using for years. Every skipped upgrade, every extra year you hold on to a working screen, is a quiet win for your bank account and the planet. The best choice is the one that serves you, not the sales pitch. That's the real upgrade. In 2020, mislabeled QLED TVs were sold as OLEDs during Black Friday sales, fueling confusion that still shapes buying decisions today. The evidence is clear. OLED delivers perfect black levels and unmatched response times, while QLED stands out in peak brightness and durability. Less than 1% of OLEDs show burn-in in mixed use after 5 years, thanks to new protective features. Yet, only 10 to 20% of TVs are recycled, and annual upgrades yield ever smaller improvements. Some questions remain, like the long-term effects of new panel technologies and the true environmental cost of mass production. But the facts point to one reality. Most differences now come down to your viewing habits, not marketing claims. In a market driven by staged demos and sponsored reviews, the smartest choice is to match your TV to your real needs and buy once, not endlessly. That's the evidence. The rest is just noise.